The Kid Who Named Pluto, and the Stories of Other Extraordinary Young People in Science by Marc McCutcheon, illustrated by John Cannell, with permission used by Chronicle Books. Read to you by Miss Parks. The Girl Who Named Pluto. At the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, on February 18, 1929, an astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh couldn't believe what he was seeing. Through an eyepiece on a machine called a blink comparator, Tombaugh examined 2 photos of the Gemini constellation. Each showed the same glimmering stars, but the pictures were not identical. The second photograph was taken a week after the first, and during that time, something had changed. The astronomer saw the tiny beacon of light, a mere pinprick, was in a different place in the second photograph than it had been in the first. An unknown object was traveling across the solar system. Tombaugh was certain it wasn't a comet or an asteroid. The light was too big. Nor could it be a star. Stars were too far away to detect movement of this kind. The object could be only one thing: Planet X. For years, scientists had hunted for Planet X, the 9th planet in the solar system. Odd disturbances in the orbits of the planets Neptune and Uranus showed that a source of gravitational pull was nearby, and astronomers believed that this mysterious source must be planet. But year after year, they were unable to spot it. Now, Tombaugh had a photograph of it. With Tombaugh's discovery, the Lowell Observatory faced a question. What should they name their new planet? One idea was to name it after the great astronomer Percival Lowell, who had spent much of his lifetime searching for Planet X. Lowell had died before Tombaugh made his discovery, but Planet X turned out to be very close to where Lowell had predicted it might be. On the other hand, many scientists felt that the planet should be named after a character in Greek or Roman mythology, to follow tradition. Mars is named after the Roman god of war, Mercury after the messenger god, Venus after the goddess of love and beauty. Percival or Lowell just didn't seem to fit right. On March 13, 1930, which coincidentally was Percival Lowell's birthday, the Lowell Observatory announced the great discovery. The public was enthralled. How big was the new planet? How far away was it? Could it be seen without a telescope? Although many questions could not be answered right away, the question of what to name the new planet created an immediate clamor. Suggestions poured in from astronomers and citizens around the world. One person wrote in to suggest the name Zimal because it was the last word in the dictionary, and this was the last word on planets in the solar system. Another wrote, "Why have only one lady in our planetary system?" and suggested Idana to accompany Venus. Nearly 100 different names were suggested in all, but the final decision was left up to the members of the Lowell Observatory. At first, they favored Cronus. In mythology, Cronus was the son of Uranus and the father of Neptune. Perfect, right? But Cronus had already been used to name a falsely identified planet years earlier. So to avoid confusion, the observatory decided against it. The debate persisted for weeks. In coffee houses and observatories all over the world, people discussed the possibilities and their favorite choices. And which name would you choose for a planet? Here are just some of the few suggestions people made. As luck would have it, an 11-year-old girl, Venetia Burney of Oxford, England, had just learned in school about the 8 planets, and and the mythological characters they were named after. The planets and their names fascinated Venetia for many reasons, but especially because 40 years before she was born, her great-uncle, Henry George Madden, had named the moons of Mars, Deimos and Phobos. This naming brought a great honor to her family. Hearing about the discovery of the new planet, she began flipping through her books on mythology. Could she be as clever as her uncle and name a celestial body? Would anyone in Arizona listen to an 11-year-old girl halfway around the world? After much study and thought, Venetia went to her father and told him she had found the perfect name for the new planet. He thought her idea was brilliant and offered to telegram her suggestion to the observatory in America. Nearly everyone who read the telegram agreed that Venetia's suggestion was a winner. Her name, Pluto. Fascinating fact, friends and family affectionately started calling Venetia Plutonia after she named the planet. Pluto was the Greek god of the dark and distant underworld, and as the farthest planet from the sun, Planet X was certainly dark and distant. Furthermore, the god Pluto could make himself invisible, and Planet X had been frustratingly hidden for years. In mythology, Pluto was the brother of Jupiter and Neptune, and Pluto began with the letters PL, which would also be a thoughtful tribute to Percival Lowell. At the age of 11, Venetia was hardly a world-class astronomer or scientist, but that didn't matter. Her choice was perfect. The observatory officially proposed the name on May 1st, 1930, and it caught on almost instantly. A few mild objections were heard, but Pluto stuck, and most astronomers agreed that it was well chosen. Today, scientists marvel that Pluto was ever found. Decades later, when the scientists thought that they had seen in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune the same ones that had caused astronomers like Percival Lowell to conclude that there was a ninth planet to be found, never really existed. It had been a coincidence that Lowell formulated his Planet X prediction, and sheer luck that Tombaugh stumbled upon it. Pluto is less than half the size of the moon and 3.5 billion miles from the sun. Earth is 91 million miles from the sun. No space probe has ever visited this tiny frozen sphere, but scientists on NASA say that someday one will. Pluto is thought to be the last planet in Earth's solar system, but it is not the last planet to be found in all of space. Scientists have recently found more than 100 others. Astronomers say that billions and perhaps trillions more are waiting to be discovered. And who will name all those new planets? Although the planet's discovery and the International Astronomical Union, an organization of astronomers, usually name new celestial bodies, anyone can make a suggestion, just like Venetia Burney. Fascinating fact, Mickey Mouse dog was named after Pluto 1 year after the planet's discovery. So, here are some tips to follow if you want to name a planet yourself. Visit the International Astronomical Union's website for its rules on naming new celestial bodies. Read Science and Astronomy magazines to learn about newly discovered planets. Visit astronomy websites to see what scientists are saying about new planets. Read Greek and Roman mythology and compile a list of names you like, with reasons why they would make a good celestial name. Read science fiction stories and classic works, such as Shakespeare, for other interesting names. Research which names have already been used to name new planets. Note: so-called star registry companies will let you pay to register a name by computer, but this naming carries absolutely no legal weight. It is neither official nor internationally recognized by science or governments. The end. And you can find this book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's websites, or online at the website for Chronicle Books. Thank you and have a good day.